JERSEYSports.com's original multimedia series, talking all things basketball across North Jersey. We got boys hoops tonight. I am Corey Doviak, being joined by the man who this show is named after, the one and only, the Richie Ballgame Barton. What's going on, Richie B?
Not much. I've been, college basketball reruns on. I was just watching the North Carolina Duke game from '95. Unbelievable game. Anyway,
who was on those teams in '95?
Well, '95 North Carolina. I mean, you had Stackhouse, Jerry Stackhouse, Rasheed Wallace, Dante Calabria, best hair in basketball.
Yeah,
and was the leading three-point shooter in the country that year. And then you had Wojciechowski for Duke, Jeff Capel, Cherokee Parks.
You know, it's so funny, too. Like, a lot of people listening to this, it's like a history lesson. You know, it seems like Dante Calabria, for me, it feels like he just played, you know? Like, you almost think he's still in college if you're a guy of my age.
Right. Except he is our age.
Right. That's the problem. Yeah, I forget that I'm so old. I hate it. Oh, it's crazy. All right, so we will take this show back into the modern day. We're going to talk Passaic County Tournament Finals coming up this weekend at Wayne Valley High School. We're going to talk Jambo semifinals and finals. I covered the semifinal round last Sunday at the Rothman Center. I got sound from there. I got interviews with Bosco's Victor Knopka and head coach Kevin Diverio. And then Bergen Catholic beating Ramapo. I have sound from Billy Armstrong after his team's win, Joe Sandberg after his team's loss. So we will be Jambo at the end. And we are down a man tonight. We're missing the great Chris Gaskin here. He's had a tough week. He was supposed to have his senior night was supposed to be tonight with the weather. That wiped that out, so he had to scramble, pick up another game for Friday, which means will not be in attendance for the Jambo final because he's going to be at his senior night. And then for this show, after his game got canceled, he conveniently got tickets to see a college basketball game in Newark between Seton Hall and Xavier. So he left us high and dry, Richie B. But we should be able to muddle through.
I think so. I think we'll be all right. I mean, the chase for 10 is held off for another day, and we will soldier on.
I want to let that sink in, too, because, we don't have a huge fan base, but we have a very loyal fan base, and we have a very inside knowledge fan base. So there are certain people in the listening audience tonight who will get a big kick out of the chase for 10, the hashtag chase for 10. So our guest tonight, we're going to talk to Clifton head coach Michael Cadmus, and I want to know when the last time Clifton made a Passaic County tournament final. NorthJerseySports.com started in 1999 for the 1999-2000 winter season, and I don't remember Clifton ever playing for a Passaic County championship in that time. In fact, we haven't really covered a lot of Clifton boys basketball. I remember probably about 10 years ago there was a kid named Devon Moffitt who was a Clifton kid and was home for a year of varsity basketball at Clifton and then transferred out right after that. And for me, they dropped off the radar after that time. And you've picked up the trail this year. I mean, we're going to talk to Coach here in a couple of minutes, so don't go too in-depth. But, Clifton making a Passaic County final, pretty impressive.
No doubt about it. I mean, to beat Wayne Valley the way they did, Valley's top seed, and Clifton pretty much dominated them. 158-41. And, I saw them in a win about a month ago over West Milford, and they, I liked them, and they were without one of their starting players, Ian Felix, one of their leading scorers. But Clifton is, it's not the prettiest basketball you'll ever see, but you'll see flashes of that, and they are gritty, and they're going to get after you defensively. And the one key I like about them is they really box out well, and they only hold you to one shot. And when you can do that, you're going to gain more possessions that way, and you're going to take control of the tempo. And Clifton does that exceptionally well.
All right. Well, without further ado, then, why don't we bring in the guest on this edition of the Ballgame, and he joins us on the Felician University hotline. Now, Richie B, wouldn't it be nice if Felician University gets some run, on this podcast here? They're having a group Division II basketball team. It's coming time for their tournaments as well.
Yeah, the CAC tournament is upon us pretty soon, I'm sure, and you got to root for the Golden Falcons. I mean, have I seen the Golden Falcon recently? No, but the Golden Falcons, cool mascot. It's a great little venue in Rutherford, New Jersey. It's a great opportunity. Division II scholarships, and the sports program has been growing by leaps and bounds over the last couple of years, adding a couple sports. Check it out, Felician University.
Felician University is the sponsor, and joining us on the Felician University hotline is the head coach of the Clifton Mustangs. He is Michael Cadmus. Coach, thanks for joining us here on the Ballgame.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Well, it is a great time to talk to you because we got some history going on in Clifton right now in this Passaic County boys basketball tournament, and it's got to mean I'll let you. We'll just want to fill people in. Clifton last won a Passaic County championship in 1974. They last went to a Passaic County tournament final in 1975. And our guest here this evening is a Clifton guy, played for the Mustangs from 2005 through 2009. So, Coach, I guess all of this stuff going on, this is really personal for you, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Clifton. I went to all the schools here, and when I was able to get the job, my number one thought was, I wanted to be able to turn this program around. We've suffered a lot of losing over the years, especially recently, and I wanted a chance to sort of remake the program.
What was the biggest issue? I mean, is it, as every public school in North Jersey and other places, is it, keeping kids home? Is it that Clifton's not a basketball town? I mean, we know that the strength of the soccer program and everything else. I mean, what's the most heavy lifting you've had to do?
I think it was just a mixture of things. I think you touched on it. Obviously, for every public school, trying to keep kids at home is always important. And I do think sort of what happened was we started losing in the 2000s, and there was just not that history there for the program. And so, kids were gravitating towards the soccer program that's so successful. Even the wrestling program recently has been very successful.
Yep.
And, I wanted to sort of, one of the first things I wanted to do was sort of remake the youth programs. And I reached out to Clifton Mustangs, and they were great. And they've really done a good job rebuilding sort of the lower levels and investing time there. And, that's helped. And just creating an identity. I think sometimes Clifton just didn't have an identity they could call its own, and that was one of the first things when I got the job I wanted to do. I wanted to make this team a tough, gritty, defensive-minded team that can play, any style offensively, but defensively we were going to be that, half-court, man-to-man, tough defense.
Richie, you've seen him play. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, coming into the season, could you see this coming? I mean, obviously, you knew the talent was there, but are you surprised that at this level of success? Listen, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't totally, I was just a little bit surprised of how well they've done, but I knew coming into the year that we had a special group, that we had a group that really embraced their roles. There were definitely some question marks coming into the year about, how certain players would step up. We knew what we were going to get out of our, Armani, Brinson, our starting guard, and our other starting guard, Ian Felix. We knew what we were going to get from them. But, we had some younger players coming up that, we were wondering if they were going to be able to fill those shoes, and they have. They've done a great job of buying into what their role is on the team. From 1 to 15, every guy's excited to do what their job is, and they understand what their job is.
And, you know, you don't get that often. You know, in today's age, everybody wants to be the hero. Everybody wants to do the, get in the limelight. And they really bought into just doing what their job is and doing what they do well. And it shows. I think we have really good chemistry on this team. And I think that has helped alleviate a lot of the burden that I thought maybe coming in was going to be too much for Armani and Ian. The role players have really picked up that challenge.
Go ahead, Richie. Continue.
You've been in so many close games this year. I mean, you got off to a great start. I think you were 10 or 11-0 right out of the gate, and so many close wins. Then you took one on the chin against, Kennedy, who you're playing in the final. But you come back and beat him in overtime last week. Talk about how those close games, and especially that win over Kennedy, has really given you the utmost confidence going into Saturday's final.
Yeah, nothing's ever easy. As a coach, you would like it to, win by 20 every day. But, being in so many close battles throughout the year, I think certainly has given us confidence in those late game situations. And it showed last week. We were up against Kennedy. We sort of, we were up by 10 in the fourth quarter at one point, and we faced adversity. Kennedy came back. Again, Kennedy's a really good team, and they came back, and we sort of, tied the game, and we could have gone either way. We could have sort of, sunk our heads and let Kennedy let the game slip away from us, so we could dig deeper and rely on that experience that we had, and they did, and they fought, and in overtime we made big shots and got big stops. So all these experiences really help us going forward for the championship game and heading into the state playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, just talk about the semifinals a little bit. We've known Joe Light forever, both as the highly successful softball coach at Indian Hills, the highly successful basketball coach at Wayne Valley, at Indian Hills before that. And you guys, not that it's ever easy to win a county tournament semifinal, but, judging by the final score and stuff, you guys did have your way there against a real quality program. I mean, what was it? Everything just clicked for you.
I mean, first off, yeah, he does such a great job, coach over there, that it's amazing. When I first took over, Wayne Valley is one of the programs that, I wanted to follow. They're very well disciplined. Guys know their roles. They play tough. They don't have the best athletes. They may not have the tallest kids, but they're in every game. They have good year after good year. And so, again, that's who they had, this year. This team is no different than any other Joe Light team. And so we knew going to the game was going to be a challenge, that we were going to have to match their intensity, match their discipline, match, their ability to execute. And so, I think our kids really, did a great job of being prepared for the game, knowing the other team well, watching film and things like that. I think they were prepared, and I think over the course of the game, it showed.
Yeah. Go ahead, Richie.
Going into the final, obviously, it's going to be a big crowd, bigger than those kids have ever played in front of. They're going to be pumped up. They're going to be, going crazy inside. But how do you get them to really rein that in and still play the same type of game and come in with the same type of game plan that you've had all year?
Winning is new to them, and like you said, being on the stage is new to them. But at the same time, it's basketball, and at the same time, it's Kennedy. We played Kennedy, I think, these guys 6 times in the past 2 years. In the past 18 months. So, it's a familiar opponent, it's a familiar place in Wayne Valley. It's not, we play there every year. We almost play there every year. And so while the crowd might be larger, the stakes might be higher than when you're used to, it's still basketball. And at the end of the day, it comes down to just doing the little things that matter. And they'll be ready for that, I think. They were ready for that on last Saturday. And again, the semifinals, that was their first semifinals in God knows how long as well. And I think they were ready for that moment. And I think they'll be ready for this moment on Saturday.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we wish you the best of luck. Listen, Kennedy, covering that game, I've seen Kennedy win some crazy ones. a few years ago, I remember against Eastside was a classic, and they've broken a lot of hearts. And as the dominant, when Patterson Catholic closed and all those things, and Kennedy ascended to the kind of the throne of the one that everybody had to get through to win. I mean, if you do go on to win this tournament, it will. No one can say anything, because you would have beaten Wayne Valley in the semifinals, you would have beaten Kennedy in the final, and as a Clifton guy, I mean, what are you going to be thinking when you step on the floor there? Just you can take a moment for yourself and just soak it in, or how do you think that's going to be for you?
I think I'll definitely try to soak it in when we first arrive, and then after that, it's just back to business. Obviously, I think we all want this, my coach, staff, the players, but there's a thing of maybe wanting it too much. You just want to take a deep breath and just play the game. And that's going to be our message. It's been our message all week to them. It's been our message all year. Focus on next. What's next? Who's next? They've done a great job of not looking behind and not looking ahead. They've been focused on who's next. And so I think they'll do the same thing on Saturday, and hopefully we will be able to beat a great Kennedy team. Coach Patterson does a great job over there. He was actually my high school coach at Clifton. So I have a ton of respect for him. He did a lot for me in my career, and I think it would obviously mean a lot to be able to like I tell them all the time, you want to be a great program, you got to beat great programs, and you should just you never forget that opportunities can go away. This is a great opportunity to have and to do that at the high stage.
No doubt about it. And we're gonna, when we part ways with you tonight, Richie and I are gonna make our picks. We won't subject you to listening, but Richie B, I'm all pumped up. I'm taking Clifton.
That's what I want to hear.
Richie, are you there, or have you dropped off? I believe he is gone.
No. I'm right here, but I got to leave some suspense. I can't just put my pick out there.
Yes. All right. So you got anything else for the coach before we let him out of here?
Just that you're doing a great job, and best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you again for having me on. Yeah,
Coach, you're doing you're doing a better job than any coach at Clifton High School since at least 1975. So we're really, I mean, as journalists, we're rooting for a good story, and you guys are a great story. So we thank you for coming on here tonight, and go get them on Saturday. Best of luck.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, Richie B. Good stuff there with Clifton head coach Michael Cadmus, and we wish the Mustangs the best of luck here coming up on Saturday in the Passaic County Tournament Final. All right, let's go back now. Let's hit the rewind button. Let's talk about what happened at the 63rd Annual Oscar F. Thompson Memorial Bergen County Jamboree Semifinals. The Jambo Semifinals played on Sunday in the Stratus Arena, in the Rothman Center, on the campus of Fairleigh Dickinson. I mean, it goes on and on and on, Richie B. A couple of games at FDU this past weekend, and maybe the shocker, and as crazy as it is to say, is that the top seed and the two-time defending Jambo champion, Don Bosco Prep Ironman, that they won. I felt like, they lost during the week to Bergen Catholic. They lost during the week to a Bergen County public school in Teaneck, which never happens. They're banged up beyond belief with Miles Ruth and others out. And all they do, change everything up. St. Joe's has been flying lately. And Bosco controls tempo, takes care of the basketball even without their point guard, and kind of pulls off, Richie B, what is a little bit like a shocking win.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Diverio, it almost is like he is made for this kind of thing. Yeah. Whenever there's any type of adversity or what game plan as well as anybody, and you got to give credit to the Ironman. And there are guys like Kyle Moore, for instance.
Yes.
3 big threes, came up with 17 points, which I believe was a game high. I mean, this is someone who, was a role player who played, primarily in garbage time and at a handful of games as a junior last year, but has stepped into a bigger role and has really accepted it, and has come on. He had some big games. Had 16 against Bergen Catholic, had 17 the other night at St. Joe's in the semis. And when you can get that kind of balance to go along with the Owen McGlashans, and especially Victor Knopka, who's had an exceptional senior year, you're going to give yourself a shot night in and night out.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that Chris Gaskin gave Kevin Diverio his props on this show last week, talking about how he's a Bergen County legend and all of, because I've seen him win when he's been, at full complement and just had the better players and gone. But this time, I've seen other circumstances where he's down to, second stringers and everything else. Granted, it speaks to the depth of the non-public that you're able to stack up there and that kids want to go and they're willing to sacrifice playing time for a chance to be a part of these things. But take nothing away from him. Devin Sharma took over at the point guard, and he scored 2 points in the first quarter and 2 points in the fourth quarter. And you say, well, your point guard had 4 points, but took care of the basketball. After a little bit of a shaky start to adjust to the speed of the game, middle of the game, end of the game, he was able to, even when possessions didn't end with a shot at the basket, he was able to extend them, to keep his dribble alive, to keep his head up, to do the little things that do not show up in the stat sheet to help Don Bosco Prep moving in the right direction and protecting a lead down the stretch. You talked about Owen McGlashan. He had a great game, too, just being an option offensively. And Victor Knopka was great. Senior, going to Army. Looks like, is going to be in the brochure, Richie B, for the United States Military Academy at West Point, the Black Knights of the Hudson. I mean, he just looks like a cadet and played like a Division I basketball player the other night, too. I have some sound of Victor Knopka after the game. I interviewed him, and rather than me talk about his exploits, let him tell you about how they pulled off the win last Sunday against number 4 seeded St. Joseph Regional.
It's funny when the number 1 seed and defending champion, when you win in the semifinals, it's kind of an upset. But, it's kind of an upset here. How do you feel?
I mean, people doubted us because we have injuries right now. We have a lot of people injured. But, we came hard to practice every day. We're working hard. Nobody's quitting. So, people want to doubt us, but we're still rising to the top.
What did you do today to adjust? I mean, actually, I thought using you in a lot more situations, the low pick and roll, just the outlet valve in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, so, yesterday in practice and the day before, Coach was saying how I have to bring the ball up. There's a lot of adjustments with the people we have out. And so he wanted me to knock down a lot of shots, and by that he gave me a lot of confidence, so made it work.
Bergen Bosco in the final again, and you just played them. So
yes,
little revenge. Revenge. All that stuff doesn't matter because it's Bergen Bosco.
Yeah,
but, talk about the opportunity.
It's always fun to play them. Great experience, great skills displayed by everyone, and just come to work.
So that was Victor Knopka, and now let's hear from his head coach, Kevin Diverio. Again, he. I've seen him win. Listen to this audio, and you can hear the questions that I asked.
I mean, I've seen you coach a lot of big games in this gym. I don't know if I've seen you coach a better one. I mean, banged up, and to beat that team, unbelievable effort by your kids.
I'm really proud of them. They believed in themselves. They've stuck together. We've been bitten by the injury bug a little bit, but they like playing with each other. They play for each other. And, I think when you do that, you can accomplish anything.
And you get off to a little bit of a sluggish start, and after the week you've had, there could have been this, here we go again moment. There was not.
Yeah, no, we said, we played hard against Bergen. They're a really good team, and they beat us on their court. They played better than us. They outcoached us. And Teaneck, is a good team as well. So, we never came out, thinking, we were defeated or, just regroup and get ready for the next one.
All right, that's that. Don Bosco Prep heading to the final, looking for a third straight Bergen County Jamboree title, where their opponent will be Bergen Catholic. And for all the excitement of the Don Bosco Prep St. Joseph regional game in the semifinals on Sunday, Richie B, there was not too much of it in the first game of the evening as Bergen Catholic kind of took care of Ramapo. When I did the show a couple of weeks ago with Al Coleman, talking about the issues involving the Jamboree, it seemed like the one line that Al said that stuck out to a lot of people was all the public schools are playing for fourth place. I think Ramapo supporters, team members, coaching staff, everybody took a little bit of exception to that. They thought they had the kind of team that can make a run. They did make a run. They were the number 3 seed. They got as far as they were supposed to. They ran into a buzzsaw in Bergen Catholic. I mean, Ramapo I've said it, is as big a public school as I've seen in my 20 years with NorthJerseySports.com. But public school depth and parochial depth in this day and age, Richie B, are two different kettles of fish.
No doubt about it. And, when you talk Bergen Catholic, everyone talks about, obviously, Fremantle, Zach Fremantle, who's head to Xavier, and Matt Zona, who's a 6'9" D1 prospect, and, Doug Eater, who's going to St. Peter's. But a guy who's kind of got lost in the shuffle as a freshman, Will Richardson, who is, averaging 7-8 points a game, only had 2 against Don Bosco. He came back with a big game, scored 14 against Ramapo. Bergen Catholic is their defense. With Billy Armstrong, he's going to preach strong team defense, especially on the help side, and closing out. It makes it easy for your guards to be aggressive. I mean, Ramapo is a team that has scored less than 50, twice in the previous 22 games, and Bergen Catholic held them to a season-low 37. That's the stat that really tells out to me. But if Richardson can get going, I mean, Eater, Fremantle, and Zona have been pretty steady all season. But if they can get that fourth scorer to get them 10, 12 points a game, look out. I mean, this is a team that could not only go all the way in Bergen County, but really be a threat to win a state title in NCSC.
Yeah. Well, Richardson, I've seen Bergen Catholic twice now, and the feeling that I get with Richardson, first of all, he's the younger brother of former Hackensack standout MJ Richardson, who had a great career with Hackensack. He's a freshman, and the feeling that I get is that Billy Armstrong has brought him along slowly and is, just giving him more and more responsibility as the season has gone on. And to be honest with you, I think Zona and Fremantle are two tough matchups because of their size and their athletic ability for their size and their ability to work together, work the high-low. We've talked about that type of thing. But Will Richardson might have been the best player on the floor the other night. And that's saying something with all that Division I talent running around. He had 14 points. He scored in every quarter. He made a 3. He got to the basket. Made 3 of his 4 free throws in the fourth quarter. It just seems like Billy has held him back a little bit to allow him to acclimate to the varsity level. And now, as the season has worn on, he's kind of taken the reins off, loosen the reins a little bit, and Will Richardson is taking full advantage. Ramapo had 1 double-digit scorer, Neil Quinn. 4 other guys scored 6. They didn't make a 3-pointer until the game was well decided, well into the fourth quarter. So Bergen Catholic certainly deserves its spot in the final. Now, they're going to the final for the 3rd straight year as well, same as Don Bosco, but they're looking to win this one. Bosco has won the last 2, beaten rival Bergen Catholic in the final each of the last 2 years, and they may meet up again in the non-public A state sectional final. So this could be round 3 of a 4-round fight. They split the regular season series on each other's home floors, and we'll see what happens on Friday night at the Rothman Center. Let's just wrap up the Jambo semifinals with 2 pieces of audio. First, from the victorious head coach. Here is what Billy Armstrong had to say after the game.
I think the biggest thing is just it seems like our team's coming together. And then our guys that came off the bench, Will Richardson, Justin Regis, Jason Larinaga, Jassim, I thought in the first half they all came in and made a positive impact. And with the way we play in terms of our full-court offense, full-court defense, we can't play 5 guys. So, we're getting to the point where 9 guys are playing. Our bench kids seem to be getting better, which is really good for us.
And, maybe that fourth quarter, the first time you played them, was the best thing that happened to you because your kids got a lead at halftime, a big lead, and rather than, be tentative and try to just, you hit the gas and pull away.
Yeah, it was definitely we talked about it in the huddle at the start of the fourth quarter in terms of what our mindset was and what they might be thinking or whatever. And it's also like something I talk about at halftime, because I think all year we've kind of been in those places where we've had these 12, 13, 14-point leads in certain games. And then instead of like making the simple play, getting the one stop, we would try to do some type of, fancier type play, and then all of a sudden it goes from 12 to 7. So trying to grow as a team, and we're high school basketball, so they're learning, trying to take it from where we get a stop and a score, and it goes from 17 to 18, 19.
But you can see the progression. I mean, you guys have had a great week. You just took care of the best public school in Bergen County by 30. I mean, you're moving. I forget that you're moving on to this tournament and the states and everything else, but I think, and you can answer this obviously better, but I think you guys you can see the progression in just your play getting better as the season goes along.
Yeah, I think
it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I think we are. I mean, I think we are getting better, and like I said, our bench is getting bigger. I think we're also just doing a better job in terms of our little details of stuff, to be honest with you. Our man defense has been better now, like late. Our effort, relentless effort, things that we're trying to do has been better. In the last few years, I felt like we came storming out of the gate, and we were kind of, pulling ourselves to the finish line. So we made some adjustments this year, and having experienced kids and having some really good players helps.
Good stuff there with Billy Armstrong. They are playing Friday night. They are heading to the Jambo final on the big floor, the Division I floor, against rival Don Bosco Prep. And exiting stage left is Ramapo. Now, they are the number 3 seed in North 1 Group 3. They will have home court advantage at least until the semifinals. And then, that bracket is so stacked, I expect no such thing as chalk there, Richie B. We'll talk about that at a later date. Maybe Sunday we'll preview the state tournament here, but that's not for tonight. But North 1 Group 3 is going to be a dogfight. Ramapo certainly in the mix. And they are stinging a little bit after the defeat in the Jambo Final Four. So let's hear what Joe Sandberg has to say after a great run by his team that he hopes will propel them forward in the state tournament. Here is Joe Sandberg.
Obviously they're a really talented team, and we knew we would have to play kind of our best game to beat them. I think the big floor hurt us a little bit, and they were able to get in gaps, and we didn't make any shots, which kind of killed us. We haven't struggled like that offensively all year, and you can get away with it against some teams, but against a team like Bergen, you're going to have to put the ball in the basket.
But still so much to play for. Obviously, you won the de facto Bergen County Public School Championship. You got a state tournament to play. Everything's going to be on your home floor. I mean, how do you just say, go in there and say, okay, done, let's move forward?
Well, we don't play anything for fourth place. I mean, our mindset was we wanted to win this. So, I think I'm pretty sure I have a locker room full of guys that are disappointed in the way this turned out. But at the same time, we haven't lost to a public school all year. Our goal doesn't change. We haven't won our section since I've been here. We're going to put our best foot forward. This is going to sting, but we'll be all right.
All right, interesting stuff there with Joe Sandberg, and that closes the book on the Bergen County semifinals. The final will take place, as I said, this Friday night. Number 1 and 2-time defending champion Don Bosco Prep against number 2 and 3 straight-time finalist Bergen Catholic. It's Bergen, it's Bosco. That's what it's going to be. But Richie B, before we close out this edition of the ballgame, we got picks to make. We got to listen. My Bergen County now I don't want to brag because well, all right, I want to brag, but you hear that? That is my bracket for the 63rd annual Oscar F. Thompson Memorial Bergen County Jamboree. And do you know that of my entire bracket, I have gotten one game wrong? I took Woodridge to beat Pagoda in the out-bracket game back on, what was that, January 26th. Here we are a month later, and my bracket has been beautiful ever since. So I look at it here. I have number 1, Don Bosco. I'm lying, Richie B. I had Ramapo. You hear that, Richie? That's me crumbling this stupid thing up. It's Don Bosco Prep, Bergen Catholic in the final. I'm taking Bergen. Who are you taking?
I got Bergen, 54-45.
54-45. I will have to pick a score. I'm going to say they beat them 60-52. So we are both going that way. And now we will pick the Passaic County tournament final. It is number 1, Kennedy. And what is it, number 3, Clifton? Is that what it is?
No. Kennedy is the 2. and Clifton is the 4.
The 2 versus 4. Kennedy, Clifton. We had Michael Cadmus on the show here today. I let the cat out of the bag, so I will just reiterate the fact that I am taking Clifton to win its first Passaic County championship since 1974. How about that?
That is pretty impressive. I'm going to follow suit. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be up and down. I got Clifton 66-62 over Kennedy.
All right, we'll see how it all plays out. I'm going to use some whiteout and fix my bracket so that everything is properly is corrected, and we'll see how that goes as well. But I am going to be at the Bergen County Finals, Richie B at the Passaic County Finals. We will reconvene probably on Sunday to digest how it all went down. We will see you next time on the Ballgame.
Follow the leader.